Welcome to Form Filling USA. Today, we're diving right into this explainer to take the absolute headache out of tax season for seniors and retirees. Because let's face it, as the years go by, the literal last thing anyone wants to do is spend their hard-earned free time wrestling with confusing tax documents, right? Well, stick around because today we've got some fantastic news about how the IRS has actually, finally, streamlined this whole process for us.
Seriously, if you or maybe your parents have ever struggled with the tiny text and confusing math on federal tax returns, you are absolutely not alone. For decades, standard tax forms were a major source of frustration. I mean, you practically needed a magnifying glass and a pot of really strong coffee just to read the lines, let alone figure out where to actually input your retirement income. It was stressful, visually exhausting, and quite frankly, a huge barrier to just getting your taxes done efficiently.
So, here's our game plan for today's explainer. First, we'll meet Form 1040-SR. Second, we'll compare the standard 1040 to the 1040-SR. Third, we'll cover free filing options for seniors. And fourth, we'll look at tax help and faster refunds.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1. Meet Form 1040-SR, the tax form for seniors.
Now, the crucial number to remember here is 65. That is the magic age you got to reach to qualify for Form 1040-SR. So if you were born before January 2nd, 1960, for the upcoming tax year, you've hit the milestone. And what's really great about this is that even if you're still working, as long as you meet that age requirement by the end of the tax year, this form is ready and waiting for you to use.
You know, this form was specifically created to just strip away the anxiety of filing a paper return for older taxpayers. Introduced back in the 2019 tax year, it was a direct response to feedback that standard forms were just way too difficult for seniors filing by hand. It really honors the fact that retirement income looks a bit different, and, well, the physical act of filling out the form shouldn't be a vision test. Think of it not as some brand new, complicated tax code, but as a much-needed visual upgrade designed purely for accessibility.
Moving on to Section 2, 1040 versus 1040-SR. What is the difference?
So, you might be wondering, should I actually switch forms? Especially if you've been using the traditional one for your entire adult life. Well, let's look at it. The standard 1040 has that tiny print and forces you to dig through a totally separate, heavy instruction booklet just to find your standard deduction. But the 1040-SR? Total game changer. It has much larger print, better contrast, and get this, it conveniently builds the standard deduction chart right there on page 4. No more flipping back and forth between a huge manual and your tax return to figure out your deduction. It's all right there.
Now, please rest assured, using the 1040-SR absolutely does not change how you're taxed. The math is identical. The tax brackets? Identical. It uses the exact same schedules for things like reporting capital gains or specialized retirement income. You are definitely not losing out on any deductions or magically changing your tax liability. It is literally just a much more accessible piece of paper.
Okay, let's head into Section 3, free filing for seniors and getting the help you deserve.
Having a better, easier-to-read form is great, sure, but having free, expert help to fill it out, that is even better. The IRS actually partners with organizations to offer this incredible alphabet soup of free, reliable tax prep programs. You don't necessarily need to pay hundreds of dollars to a professional if your tax situation is relatively straightforward. Between VITA, TCE, IRS Free File, and MilTax for our military families and veterans, there is almost certainly a free resource ready to step in and help you out.
Let's look a little closer at TCE, which stands for Tax Counseling for the Elderly. If you're retired, this is for you. TCE volunteers are specifically trained to answer your unique, specific questions about pensions and retirement income. These folks know the ins and outs of Social Security benefits, IRA distributions, the whole shebang when it comes to pension taxation. And they operate out of community centers, libraries, and schools, making it incredibly convenient to get real, face-to-face assistance from someone who truly gets senior-specific tax issues.
Meanwhile, we also have the VITA program, which stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. This program has actually been operating for over 50 years to help folks who need basic tax return prep. Basically, if your income falls at or below $60,000, or maybe you have a disability or limited English proficiency, VITA is there for you. It's this massive, amazing network of dedicated volunteers who are ready to help you navigate your return at absolutely zero cost.
But what if you prefer to just do things digitally from the comfort of your couch?
Well, if your adjusted gross income is $73,000 or less, you also qualify for free federal guided tax prep through the IRS Free File program online. This is a really cool public-private partnership. Top-name premium tax software companies basically provide their entire interface completely for free if you meet that income threshold. The software does all the heavy lifting, finds the right forms, and just asks you plain English questions to build your return. Easy peasy.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but if it's free, is it going to be low quality? Absolutely not. These official IRS partnerships are super safe, secure, and require volunteers to pass incredibly strict tax law training. Every single volunteer has to certify their knowledge of the tax laws and maintain strict privacy. Plus, every single return prepared at a VITA or TCE site goes through a rigorous quality review check before it is ever sent to the IRS, so you are in very good hands.
All right, let's bring it home with Section 4, tax help and faster refunds.
Preparing the return is really only half the battle, right? Getting any refund owed to you securely and swiftly, well, that's the ultimate goal. So beyond tax prep, the IRS offers targeted tools like an online interactive tax assistant to help figure out, say, if your Social Security benefits are taxable. There's also a dedicated accessibility helpline. Need communications in Braille, large print, or audio? You can file Form 9000 to set that up. And if English isn't your first language, they offer over-the-phone interpreters at their assistance centers. They are literally trying to knock down every single barrier between you and a smooth tax filing experience.
Here's the golden rule, though. Combining electronic filing with direct deposit is absolutely, hands down, the fastest and easiest way to receive your refund. Make sure you gather all those important documents first, W-2s, 1099s, Social Security statements. Then, whether you're using IRS Free File at home or sitting with a TCE volunteer, choose to e-file and have that money sent straight to your bank account. It drastically cuts down on processing time and ensures paper checks don't get lost in the mail.
You have earned your retirement, so why spend it stressing over tax forms? Take advantage of Form 1040 SR and all these completely free IRS resources so you can get back to doing what you love. The tools are out there, the volunteers are highly trained, and hey, the forms are finally readable. It makes this the perfect time to make tax season your easiest one yet. But it does beg a much larger question. If the government has tools this good hidden in plain sight, what other free local, state, or federal benefits might you be missing out on simply because you didn't know the right form existed? Think about it. Thanks for joining this explainer here on Form Filling USA, and we'll see you next time.